So I am back. My name's Tracy Lydia Garner. I am an author, writer, speaker, teacher, and all around creative person. I've been writing for almost 25 years. Even I can't believe it sometimes. But I want to jump right in. You can learn about my bio and read all that at some other time. What I am trying to help you do with our five, maybe six or seven, I keep adding stuff. So our mini challenge for the Publishing Action Guide, which is a book that is coming out in a few months, is talk about getting ready for publishing. And so, day two, I'm just looking at my notes. Day two is all about picking a path. Do you know what your path is going to be to publication? And I want to be clear, there is nothing wrong with the path that you choose. What I think people should think more about is the personality for the path that you're choosing. A lot of people say, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't want to do all the steps. I don't want to do all the things. Do you know how simplistic publishing has become? There were used to be so many things I would outsource as a self-publisher. And now I only outsource probably three things. That is cover design, formatting, and editing. Okay. Even some of the cover design for the nonfiction books that I've been doing, I did those myself on Canva. Even my book on disability, everyone loved it, and I did it on Canva. So I just want you to know that if you can manage a team, if you are a mom or even a great auntie, and corralling things and kids and getting things together, you can manage your own book publishing journey. There are too many roadmaps out there for people not to feel confident about what they're doing. Now, what I'll say too about the traditional publishing route, there are only two things that I dislike about that. And I'm not against traditional routes because my first three books were published by a large New York house, and I won a contest and got a trip to New York. And that is all old news. I entered a contest while I was in college and I won the grand prize. So you can enter other things and get your foot in the door. You should be entering contests anyway, getting honorable mentions. And, even if you're not the winner, maybe you're the runner up or you're in the top three or top five. Those things to a publisher sound really good. Like you are actively trying and you are, seeking opportunities and reputable contests and, first chapters, first three chapters, critiques, feedback, all of those things make you sound like you are dedicated to this, that you're not just going to be a one-hit wonder, that you want to get a book deal, and you're making the rounds in these various, mostly prestigious contests. Don't get me wrong, somebody open their garage and enter your first chapter in a contest and never hear from people again. And by the way, pay $500. I'm not talking about those. Even some of the most reputable contests cost anywhere from $50 to $100 as an entry fee. And if there's a cash prize, you're going to be charged. So just remember that. So I have more self-published books than I do books with a traditional contract, but I continue to pitch because I want to test my material. I want to see what the agents and editors are saying, and I want to get some feedback on the premise of what I'm calling maybe a breakout story that I'll have. I always said that I'd go back after a book deal after I retire. Well, retirement hasn't quite happened yet. And so I just don't want to overwhelm myself. But I digress. I was going to say two things or reasons that it takes so long and why people fizzle out with trying to get a book deal. One is just the time. You can submit, let's say you submitted in January and you finally heard from a publisher this July. Okay. And so about 7 months, you waited patiently and they said, yes, we would love your book. Everything is wonderful. It's so good. They'll have some major, minor edits for you, and you have to agree to those. And your book, though, is not coming out till 2028. Might be January, February of 2028. But you have to understand, I always liken the publishing, traditional publishing landscape to a Berry Gordy record studio. He used to tell stories that up in the top was, recording and doing all the things. It was probably reverse. It was probably in the bottom in the basement where the sound quality was better. Anyway, my point is that in the middle was wardrobe and, getting everybody polished, outfits and dancing. And then another place was actual production and making the records. Publishing houses had a similar setup where they have their four books or how many ever they publish. If they're really large, they have 12, 24 books that they're going to put out for that month. They have all those books already lined up through 2027 and are probably acquiring for even spring or summer 2028. So now that I'm getting older, and remember, I have muscular dystrophy, time has always been of the essence to me. I would love a book deal. That would be great, but I don't want one with the stuff that I have on my plate right now. But it is a wonderful thing. So time is the first thing. And I think what trumps time is just you're looking to someone who made some list of arbitrary rules to say that you are good enough and worthy of acceptance into our house. Okay. It's almost like, you got dressed up and, maybe you forgot to change your shoes, but you can't bring your dirty shoes into this house because we looked at your background and, you don't have enough followers, your platform's not that big, your newsletter is not that big. Any number of reasons will work to keep you out. And sometimes it has nothing to do with the story. So it's very arbitrary. It's not, you have a good story, they can build an audience. They can build an audience for anything. There are things that have gone through that people, write bad reviews about and don't know how it got published. But anything can get published and they're willing to put the marketing dollars behind it. It can be a phenomenon. And they just decided that based on some random thing that may or may not have to do with the story, that you are not worthy to enter into their gates. Okay. So if you're willing to suffer through, I think people can still get deals. I'm still planning to maybe get a deal if that's what I want. But I think that you are going to have to wait a long time and keep submitting to multiple, multiple people. So what I think is that today's set of some writers, I never use blanket statements. Some writers will not suffer through constant rejection. And plus, can I just say, suffering through constant rejection is demoralizing. It doesn't motivate you to want to write, especially when you don't know where the problematic areas are in your manuscript. You have no idea. You get a form letter that says, not right for us at this time. Well, why? At least even, if you're dating someone, you can kind of tell, like, is this going to work or is this not going to work? And you can list out the reasons that it's not going to work to a girlfriend while he lists out his reasons to a boyfriend, okay, or his boys or his friends, you know what I mean, man friends. Um, so there are reasons, but they're not going to tell you what they are. And that is, maddening and frustrating, and it doesn't inspire your creativity. So what I want you to think about when choosing the publishing path is your personality. What I loved about entering my contest and slowly getting some feedback. I remember when they called me, this was 20 plus years ago. They called me and like, we want you to send a picture and a little bio and tell us more about yourself. And all I was thinking was, did I win? Did I win? Did I win? And then I started this downward spiral of they just want to find out if I'm ugly or, maybe I don't have the best face. I should be in radio. But for me, it was kind of annoying because I wanted my writing got to stand on itself. I got to be judged without being seen. And for me, as a person with a disability, being seen is like kind of like, the jig is up, it's over now. They're going to reject me on things that have nothing to do with my writing and my writing ability, but on appearance, we reject people on appearance. And can I just say, all the people who are dancing on TikTok and they get thousands and thousands of comments and everybody loves them. I'm thinking of somebody in particular. Here I go with that swallowing thing again. I'm thinking of somebody in particular, thousands, I mean hundreds of thousands of views and likes and go girl, and you look beautiful. If you saw that person on the street, other people are gonna act like you don't know them. And nobody wants to admit that. But as soon as you show up in real life, IRL, people don't know you. Like, weren't you the one who just made wonderful comments about me being beautiful and doing things and doing really good? And then, a stranger in the street, they know they saw you somewhere. Maybe you're doing a public video, dancing in the street or what have you, and they won't even walk up to you or say, "Hey, aren't you that person?" They'll just keep going like they don't know you. I know that doesn't happen all the time, but I can just, the people online are not your real friends. You'll have some relationships, those are your real friends, yes. But all those other 1,000+ people, you see them in the street, they're not going to know you. Okay. And they're not going to think that you're so great. Use your personality. If you are shy, maybe if you have other disabilities, and I know we're embracing more people with disabilities, trust me. I've been on the end where we weren't cool, and now we're on the end. One time we were, maybe during the Obama years, we were cool. And now we're uncool again as we are under attack for some of our civil rights and things that we need to live in our homes, home and community-based services. Does anybody know anything about that? I digress. My point is that you need to think about how you present yourself. Are you able to really talk excitedly about your book? I have never had a pitch rejection. Now, have I been crazy and not followed through? Yes. That is a whole nother psychology couch sit down that I need to have. But I talk excitedly about my own work. And if you can do that in a pitch, you can win them over. They'll want you to send something. The writing will be able to stand on its own. If you're going to do a pitch at a conference where there's, 100 other people in the same room and it's like speed dating, you may become nervous. It's like, you don't perform well on tests. You know the book, you know the material, but for some reason you just get nervous, sweaty palms. Even if you shake their hand and it's like really wet, they're going to remember, oh, that's the person who had sweaty palms. You don't know if people are forgiving of little small things like that. And so that's the problem with a traditional contract with publishing and trying to go the traditional route. So your work for today is to really study the paths. Why don't you interview somebody? Why don't you talk to them? Say, hey, how did you get started? How's it going? Send a note to your favorite author. They will respond. You never know. So try to do some research. Think about what you want, compare what you want most. If you dream of seeing yourself in a bookstore doing a signing, you can still do that. In a traditional bookstore, you can sell your books on consignment. They will give you the cash that you made right then and there. And that's an exciting feeling. Or nobody knows when they come to your signing which path you chose. And my other point is that you need to choose one. You can do both, but you're going to have to do one of them first. You can decide to publish on Amazon, hit the publish button, and it'll be available in 72 hours. And then you can turn around and hit submit on Submittable or wherever your agent or editor wants you to submit your work. So let's get going, find out all that you can, think about your personality, interview some folks, do your research and then pick a path to publishing. I'll see you for day 3 in just a little bit. Take care and thanks. Bye bye.